Đúng rồi.
Cái này nó tuột nè anh ơi.
Cái đó. Con ơi. Rồi.
Lên xong. Tại sao? Để bên trong. Kẹp cái gì đó.
Hồi nãy chị đâm thằng nhỏ, đâm thêm một cái mà nút cán luôn. Check the mic.
So, how level, where how loud should I have to talk when I say that too loud?
Keep your voice.
Keep my voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cái mic, cái cam của em là ở đây, cái cam của Hadi là ở đâu? Cái nào đi em chỉ
Okay,
ổng
so
cho.
just keep it as normal as possible. Keep it as normal as possible. La 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 la. Okay.
Dạ em biết rồi, nhưng mà của Hadi ở đâu để em chỉ ổng cho.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Đây luôn.
Hello.
Hadi,
Hello
when
and
you have
welcome to the latest
when you
talk show
answer,
here on
when
PIR.
you answer, you have you should look at us, and then if you want to talk to the audience, focus on that cam.
Đừng để ông mặc định là cái cam đấy, để trông tự nhiên, thì nếu lúc đấy
Em
lận
dặn
lận
rồi,
mặt
em dặn
thì
rồi.
cái cam này nó sẽ bắt. Đấy, hiểu? Để trông tự nhiên đi.
Thì em đang dặn rồi, có nghĩa là ổng có thể nhìn tụi em.
Đấy.
Nếu mà ổng muốn nhìn ra khán giả thì đó là cái cam ổng có thể nhìn.
Okay.
Em nói vậy thôi.
Bình thường khi mà nói
Okay.
Quay
Okay.
lại.
Hello.
Vâng.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah,
Welcome to
yeah,
the latest
yeah.
talk show here on VIR. The next hour or more, we are going to discuss innovative funding in blockchain startups in Vietnam with some special guests. La 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 la. Stop.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello, hello.
it's okay.
Hello, my name is Jenny. You're welcome.
Easy, easy.
Love to hear your voice.
Dạ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Right, so it means that and you are going to introduce one by one, is right?
What? Yeah. Yeah.
Because then he wants to know and then you
Oh yes. Yeah. In this order. Một, hai, ba. I know numbers. That's all I know. Yeah.
Vô, right? 1, 2, 3, vô.
How long
Một,
have you
hai,
been in
ba,
Vietnam, right? How long have you been in Vietnam? 5 years? You learn Vietnamese?
Wow. Mucho. It's so difficult.
You like can you cannot speak, but can you understand?
I understand some things. I can
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone said they'd give me a countdown.
Em ơi,
So
Yeah, they will.
khi nào bắt đầu là hô em.
hello and welcome to the latest talk show here on VIR. For the next hour or so, we are going to discuss innovative funding in startups for blockchain here in Vietnam with some special guests. My name is Raymond McRobbie and I'm joined today with three panelists. First one here is Mr. Hadi Maleb. He is the co-founder and CEO of Agora Group. For the past 15 years, Hadi has worked with organizations like the Dubai World Trade Center, ACE, Aura Events, and Heikal Media. He has worked across 4 continents and is a strong advocate of the power of congresses and conferences to bridge gaps in culture and to create business opportunities that lead to sustained growth. On July 11th and 12th next week, Agora Group will host the 10th Global Blockchain Congress, which has been held in the United Arab Emirates for 9 consecutive years, but this year will be held here in Hanoi. Next is Jenny Huang Fung, CEO of D-Lion Media and Solutions. Jenny is one of the co-founders and is responsible for company development, ensuring that its mission and vision are implemented effectively. She has a degree in international marketing management and has additional qualifications in brand strategy, market development, and much more. Jenny has 18 years of experience in consulting and implementing marketing communication strategies for nearly 50 domestic and international brands across various disciplines. And finally, we have William Do, who is the CEO of Hobbit Investment. William has more than a decade of experience in startup branding, project development, and fundraising. For several years, he has focused on the crypto space, taking on key advisory and incubator roles at top-rated projects. And Hobbit Investment is a venture capital group that provides resources and incubation for blockchain startups and crypto initiatives. So, before we begin, we are going to have a short video to introduce the Congress that will take place next week. So please take it away. introduced everybody. Now it's the video, exactly how it says on the script. Yeah, I have introduced everybody, and now it's time for the video, exactly as it says on the script. Yes. Unbelievable. Okay, so today we are going to discuss the ins and outs of blockchain startups in this country, in Vietnam, and how they go about raising funds. Traditionally, even if entrepreneurs might have an amazing business idea, typical processes in fundraising require more effort, time, and money. Fundraising in crypto may offer an alternative that is best suited for blockchain-related projects. The crypto and blockchain space is presenting novel approaches to raising funds that have not been possible in the past. So today, perhaps we will learn some more what these are, understand the unique challenges and advantages that exist in Vietnam in particular. We will also find out what investors and projects have to keep in mind when entering this space, when discussing new trends, and much more besides. So my first question will be for Mr. Hadi here. Hello. It does seem to be quite a switch for a big event like the Global Blockchain Progress to be 9 years in one place and then switch on the 10th edition to be here in Vietnam. So how did this come about, and what is it about the potential when it comes to blockchain growth here in Vietnam?
Okay, xin chào Vietnam. I hope I said that right. And
Nice.
thank you, Ray, for having me.
Nicely said.
Thank you. And thank you, Ray, for having me here with you this morning. So the Global Blockchain Congress has been held for 9 editions now in Dubai. We've been doing this event since 2018. And throughout the various editions of the event, we've been approached by many countries and many potential partners that wanted us to bring the event outside of Dubai. But we wanted really to wait until the right moment to choose the right destination and the right partners. And in the last edition of the event in Dubai, we had V2B labs attend from Vietnam. And we discussed the potential of hosting the Global Blockchain Congress here in Hanoi. And then through them, we got introduced also to TUYên, and we have some wonderful partners here in Hanoi. Having partners on the ground that understand the blockchain ecosystem and at the same time understands the particular ecosystem in Vietnam is really crucial for us to bring such a large event to a new destination. Now, why Vietnam in particular? Vietnam has really established itself as an innovation hub in Southeast Asia. There is a clear government policy on digitization and on improving innovation and improving the startup ecosystem. These policies have yielded some really strong results for the startup ecosystem in general and for the blockchain in particular. Vietnam right now ranks 3rd in Southeast Asia in attracting foreign direct investments and in startup funding. There are more than 3,800 startups in Vietnam right now, 200 VCs and more than 100 incubators. So all the ingredients are there to make to sustain this drive towards digitization and towards increasing funding for startups. And we believe that this is the perfect place for us to bring the Global Blockchain Congress outside of Dubai.
Nice, very good. So Jenny, kind of moving on from that, for startups in this field that are here, what is the general process? Like, how long would it take for most of them to show that they've got a good strategy or a long-term potential? How does that usually work?
Oh, well, thank you. I would say that how long in the time, like month or years, because it's the standard startup should be done by step. For example, that you guys should start with the idea first, and then just like learn how to research. Like Mr. William always says, do your homework.
Yeah.
And then try to find a great team, because you know what, if you want to go further, we'll go together. So the team will have you have a very clear analytics about the whole picture of the global, whole picture of your business. Just try to make a right process, and then together find out what exactly the products you should go with. So find with the products, just think the marketing, and then find out the way how to reach the goal. So you will see there's a lot of steps that the startup should do. It's not about that how many months that you should finish step by step, but don't try to fast. Don't try to finish every step so fast, because the time will come, the team will help you find out what is the right time, where is the right way. So this is a very basic framework. So, but I also want to say that in traditional, that will be there, but especially with the blockchain startups, especially with the very sensitive situation market right now, you should be flexible, but together with the team, collective intelligence will give you the right solutions.
Nice. Okay, so you just mentioned their market conditions and current market conditions. So
Yes.
so William, what those are, those conditions, like now or even towards the end of the year, how easy or hard is it for projects to actually raise funds in this country, or to do with Vietnam in general?
Okay, so for Vietnam in general, I would like to mention a little bit about what Hardy just said, and also a little bit in Jenny's what's just shared, because it's like ingredients, right? You need to collect all the ingredients. It has to be at a certain condition, and then at the right moment, you introduce them to the market, and the market will welcome your project. If not, then it's really hard for them to even consider looking at your project. So I would like to give you a very simple example, right? So if the economy is bad, people are more aware of their money, and they want to keep the money in their pocket, right? So if you want the money out of their pocket, you need to give them the interest. You need to give them a stronger push than you normally would do, right?
Right.
So when you do that, people will look at your project with a more intense feeling. If you don't create that intensity for them to look at your project, then you fail from the first moment that you present the projects out in the market. So that is really my take on this. I would like to probably dive in more, but I will leave that to later because I don't want to mess up your moment, Ray. So yeah, that is really my take on this.
Nice one. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like someone like me who doesn't know too much about the topic, so it's really interesting to know something like that.
Sure.
And I assume that these market conditions would change all the time. And you were talking about having an idea and taking some years perhaps to build a team and everything. But when the market's changing all the time, it must be really hard to stick to
yeah,
what you thought about.
normally like that is the case, right? For Jenny, like, okay, step by step, this, you gotta collect this ingredient and that ingredient. But when the market changes,
Yes.
The thing about the normal business frameworks don't work anymore.
Sure.
Right, so you have to change with the flow, and actually, like, it's more like blindly finding the right spot from that that pain in the market, and then you jump right in. If you don't do that, then you're falling behind.
Right.
If you don't move forward, right,
That's
you're
the
falling
reason why we
behind.
say that we have to be flexible.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's also it's some people are prone to maybe being hesitant or something, and that's probably not going to help. I don't know.
Right.
So Hadi, when it comes to like your experience and everything in other countries around the world, what exactly are investors looking for, and like what do they need to know when injecting money into these types of startups?
Okay. I just want to jump in a little bit and comment on
Sure.
what Will has said, because I mean the two points really connect with each other. Is what are investors looking for when they are looking to invest, and how does this journey look like from the startup perspective?
Right.
So there was a very interesting study done by Harvard Business Review on how VCs specifically operate. And they track down the flow of the deal flow. Let's say, you know, you are a VC, you are expert. How do you go about finding where to invest your money? Because that's what VCs are for. I mean, that's the sole purpose of their existence, is to find companies to invest in. Quick numbers from that study. 30% of the deal that VCs invest in come from colleagues and ex-employees of the VC firm.
Wow.
So they left and they referred some deals. 20% of these deals come from other investors. So an investor that gone through a good potential, but it's not their forte, so they pass it on to someone else. 8% comes from existing portfolio companies. So a company that the VC invested in already, refer them to someone that are just starting up a business. And only 10% come directly from startups approaching VCs. So all of this indicates how difficult it is for entrepreneurs who are not connected to the right social and professional circles to raise funds from VCs directly. So this is from a VC perspective. From a startup perspective, what they need to show, or what determines their success rate, in my opinion, after hosting 9 editions of this event that is purely focused on raising funds, there are certain fundamental blocks that have to be there, and then only if these blocks are there can the discussion even start on raising funds. One of them is the business case. I mean, what is your business case? And as a VC specifically, VCs, their main concern is, if I invest $10 in this startup right now, how much am I going to get in 3 years' time? That's
very traditional.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is very important for them. So what is the business case? Second is, who is the team leading the startup? What experiences do they have?
Yes,
What confidence do they give the investors in their ability to deliver on their business plan? And lastly, if they are raising against equity, so if they are giving away equity of their startup, what is the valuation? Because sometimes the valuation are completely out of sync of what the market. So if as a startup, if you have these 3 items right, and you have the right connections in the right circle, whether it is socially or professional, then your chances of raising funds
really high.
Become much higher than the average startup.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff to consider there.
We'll go get you there, right? We'll jump right in.
So William, related to that, on the other side of the coin,
Sure.
What are the key factors that, like, projects in particular, we'd have to focus on in terms of persuasion? What can they do to convince people to jump on board and work with them?
Right. Okay. So I would like to you know, not even comment. It's more like add on to whatever Hadi was just said right there, because you gotta know your audience, right? So there's 2 types of audience. One is your community of supporters, the ones who are going to be using your services, the product, right? The project has to have a solid product, so that it can convince the community of supporters, like, you know, your friends, your colleagues, your family members, or even, you know, the circle of people around you. They have to trust and believe in your product, and also in yourself as well. And then from there, you will build a larger community, and the investors, like, okay, so we jump into type 2 of the audience that you're gonna have to build. So that is the support from your investors, right? So it doesn't even have to be money or financial investment. It can be any type of investment in terms of time, effort, in terms of equipment, in terms of, even facility, infrastructure, so many things that, or even members or like human resources, many kind of, marketing, branding, they can invest in you, and then it's just your audience. It will help you build slowly but surely the things that you're lacking of when you're raising fund. Right, so your audience of your community will help you know, okay, what's wrong with your project. I mean, what's wrong with your product? What is lacking, right? You need to make sure that I get this, I get that to satisfy my needs if I ever use your project. And for the support, for the investors, they will need to know, okay, do you have users? Are you going to have users? Are your product going to help any type of users to help them, do work better, to help them advance in life and stuff like that. So then they will, look at this and they say, yes, your product is solid. Your community of supporter is awesome. I want in. Most of the time when I invest in any type of project, I look at the core team first, right? So do they get trust even from their family, their friends? Can I trust them? How do they treat their friends and colleagues and other people around them first? And how solid is their idea? Is it executable? Is it possible to scale up? And stuff like that. And then when I do that, I will calculate in my head, and also with my team doing all the auditing, inspection, and evaluation. And then I can make my final decision to go ahead and invest. What type of invest I select to go about it is really, depending on their lacks, whatever they're lacking at the moment. For example, financial or, infrastructure or facility. Like Jenny knows a lot about how I invest because I did work with her for several projects, and my type of investment, varies from going in with a lot of money without no work, or a lot of work without money, stuff like that. It really depends.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is about how the project can really persuade the investors. You need to know your community, your audience, what you can provide to them, and find the investors who believe in your idea as well. Okay, simple.
Simple.
Simply put. How's that?
So, Jenny, with all your experience that you have in marketing and things like that, and promotion, I guess, I assume it might be quite hard for some startups here that are blockchain related in Vietnam to maybe promote themselves or even their achievements that they've earned so far. But what has your experience been with that? There might be advantages and disadvantages of how it has gone so far here.
Well, if I answer from my own experience, I would say you will see that our here, when we discuss together, there's only one keyword that we try to focus on, that the core team. So it means that if you have a core team that we create for your project, it means that it's not so hard for raising fund for startup actually. But if talking about the Vietnamese startup, I would say that sometimes they got the problem because they didn't have time, they didn't have not access to learn the projects well, to learn the markets well. So even they have their own advantage, just like they are young. We are really young. And of course, they will have the positive energy. So they so talented because you know what, the Vietnamese market, the population is very young, and the race, you can, like Hadi also have research, we have a lot of potential projects, VCs, startups. So it means that the positive energy is sometimes cannot control, and that's linked them to the disadvantage. So the gap between the global mindset, that will be the gap between the dev team and the market, or will be the gap between the investment and the raising fund. Because it's totally different definition. And the Vietnamese startup have to be learned, like again, do the homework very well to know that. Because it's not so, we are here, have a lot of experience. We wouldn't say that we are experts, but we learn a lot. We have the experience. So from our side, we didn't see that it's not so hard. It's just about it, how well you get the preparation with the core team to get over it.
And I think if I can comment on this a little bit,
sure.
the blockchain space at certain point of time offered an alternative to young entrepreneurs rather than going through the traditional routes of raising funds through VCs, which through ICOs and through and that experience has led to many consequences. A lot of people lost a lot of money in ICOs. A lot of people made a lot of money with ICOs. ICOs are just a way of raising funds, but the fundamentals don't change, right? I mean, one of the things that we've noticed lately is that in the blockchain space, investors are asking two very important questions for startup, and some of them are not able to answer these questions clearly. And these questions are, what is your go-to-market strategy? That's the one question. And then, what is your listing strategy? If you are going to raise some seed funds in order to get you to the listing stage, what is it that you want to achieve? Where do you want to list? How? At what time do you want to list? And what is your strategy, to go to market, and what is your strategy for listing? And I find that a lot of startups are struggling with this. They don't understand or they don't have a really good grasp on these points.
Yeah, well, okay, this is from my own experience, right? Because I am no expert on that, but I do know a lot of people who are, and they're my friends. And when I do the listing strategy for FODA, which is the first AAA project that I invested in and lead fund, so when I have to build a team of listing strategists like for them, it was hard because a lot of going back and forth. Like there's not just one partner in the group, it's like 10 or 20, and you have to satisfy each and everyone's need. What time is it that is going to suit for like this partner and that partner, and how are you going to implement the strategy so well so that the project can earn or gain the most benefit, right? It's so hard, but if you can do that, the result is, impeccable.
Right.
So I think once again, the project owners should think very carefully about the core team definition, right? It's not about the inside, the inner team. It's also the backer, also the strategic advisors team.
And how you handle relationships. Really.
Don't worry, the key message will be the human also. Don't worry.
But it's true. Humans.
We might get on to talking about those kind of relationships a bit later on. I'm not sure, depending on the time. But yeah, that's some really interesting stuff so far that I had never thought about. You've got to take so many things into account and consideration, and might be made even more difficult these days because it's maybe just in this country, it's a fairly new thing for people to grasp. So, and like you say, you have a bunch of people together trying to work on something, and they all have their own agendas and stuff like that. So trying to please everyone in any kind of sphere is never easy.
No, not at all.
Okay, so we have some general questions that anyone can just jump in.
Sounds good.
Talk about whatever you want. I trust you guys to
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it.
I was thinking earlier that like interest and knowledge of blockchain ventures like NFTs and cryptocurrencies seem to be going sky high, but maybe I'm seeing that wrong. Maybe there's not enough people yet that really know what it's about. People, like you were just saying, people are jumping in to try and do something, but they miss key points. They might not have fully grasped what some of these things, what can be done. So like in Vietnam in particular, I know like the country is hoping to soon improve regulations and things like that, and just make things a bit easier. What do you think can be done in this country? Maybe the main points that need to be focused on, some changes perhaps in the near future to make things easier for both developers and investors.
One of the main focus of the Global Blockchain Congress that is going to take place on Monday is to open a dialogue between government regulators and the industry. Anything that leads to more understanding and better cooperation between the regulators and the industry is something that is going to be very positive for the economy in general, for blockchain in particular. One of the key metrics I think that can be used by various government agencies is benchmarking. See what other countries are doing in that space, and try to figure out what is the best policy to promote blockchain and at the same time protect the local investors and the local users, because it's still a very new technology. I mean, adoption rate is, I think, globally is something like 4% or 3% or something like that. It is still really, really at its infancy. From places like Dubai, where we operate, Dubai has been very, very proactive in establishing a framework, a legal framework, to attract the best and the brightest the best innovators in every sort of industry, but also in blockchain. And this policy has yielded immense results. I mean, over the last year alone, I think there was more than 1,000 companies that have migrated from outside of Dubai to register. That's only in the blockchain space, only specifically in blockchain. So there is a tremendous value for countries that can adopt legal frameworks that are clear ahead of other countries, because they become a de facto hub of all the talents all over the world. Companies and talents want to work in a place where they know that their rights are protected and there is clarity on their business cases. Personally speaking, we in Dubai we have crypto exchanges that are regulated. I myself have a wallet in a crypto exchange that is regulated in Bahrain, linked to my personal account. Transactions are seamless and they work perfectly well. So I think, to go back to your question, I think that benchmarking, education, and an open discussion with the industry will help all the key players to come up with a framework to attract blockchain leaders into Vietnam.
Right.
Yeah, I love your keywords, education, because I at TUYên we also have the education solutions, and I think actually the positive education for the mass population in Vietnam, this is the long-term strategy that I wish that we together with the enterprise and the government can be join hand together and do that, because to be honest, blockchain is just a technology that was born by human and it will be served for the people. So we try to teach that everybody know how it's know how to be apply it and implement it in their daily life. So I would think that the blockchain industry right now is not only help us have a very beautiful environment, economy, but also help us a lot in daily life.
So this education that's centered towards like blockchain technology, is that something that maybe as something that's quite a big deal in other countries now, like not focusing on projects in particular, but actually educating people on how it works? I hadn't really thought of that before, so I don't know. It's obviously important, but if it's actually happening in other places.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. From a technical point of view, I think Vietnam has had blockchain courses since 2017, so they're not behind the curve here.
Yes.
But in addition to technical knowledge, I mean, we're not talking only about coding here.
Yes.
Coding is a very important part of the blockchain ecosystem, but we need to educate the legislators, we need to educate the users, we need to educate the financial institutions. Everything that is involved in the startup ecosystem needs to understand, or needs to better understand, what blockchain is. Just as Jenny said, I mean, blockchain is a technology. Normal people don't have to understand the technology in order to understand the application of it. The same way we don't know how an actual smartphone operates, we still can use the smartphone. I think we're heading to a place, hopefully soon, where blockchain technology is integrated into everything that we do, and the end result of that is making our life easier without us having to understand exactly
Yeah,
what the
sure,
technology
sure.
is.
Right. So I believe that with education, it comes with, you know, a lot of research, and you have to create some type of information hub for, you know, the users, for the mass, you know, users to actually access and get the clean information, and not you know, the shady kind of information that we're having on the internet right now. That's why people have to do their own research. Is that I always encourage, because there's not yet, you know, a solid institution where they can teach, you know, these kind of classes. How do you define something that is so new, and there's so many definitions out there regarding, you know, all the trends they have in blockchain? How do you, you know, pinpoint something and say that, yeah, this is correct?
Right.
My way is the correct way. No, there's none, right?
Various perspectives and angles.
Right. And okay, so even myself, I wanted to move to Dubai, but not just to live there. It's actually for like working or maybe making connections, because I can see that the people with you know, a good umbrella of from the government side, where they support and actually, you know, see that as a legit business model that works, they change the people. They shape it shapes the people's mindset into a way that they are so active, and they can be openly sharing whatever they have as knowledge to others.
Right.
They don't have to hide this thing, and they think of themselves as scammers. Like, if, you know, you work under umbrella that, you know, doesn't recognize you, doesn't really see the values that you're bringing, you'll feel a little bit, you know, hesitant.
Yes.
Yeah, a little
absolutely.
bit taken back towards, right? Like, I wanted to share with you something that is really going to help you make money and change your life, but maybe you think I scam.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, you know, stuff like that. So the reason why I travel a lot, and especially to the countries that you know, implement blockchain regulations and actually recognize that as, you know, even cryptocurrency and stuff like that, it's because, you know, I can see the change in people.
Yeah.
And this is going to happen whether we like it or not. So if right now we can jump in and raise, you know, before education even, you know, we can raise awareness. Like, there's certain ways to do this.
I think this is quite interesting, because being at the center of the blockchain industry in Dubai, we've witnessed an amazing changes in such a short time. I mean, between 2018 and 2022, if you take away the 2 years that we were all forced to
we were
stay
discussing
home,
about this, right?
because of COVID-19.
Right.
Within that very short period of time, there's tremendous change in people's understanding, in people's attitude towards blockchain. Between 2018 and 2022, we went from trying to explain what a Bitcoin is in 2018, even to investor, even to seasoned investor, you know,
Right.
into having 3 or 4 jurisdictions in Dubai that can issue blockchain licenses for companies. That kind of a switch that happened so quickly and has yielded some amazing results.
Sure.
It can only be driven when there's a clear directive from the government, to be honest with you, saying, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it. To provide that cover of legitimacy for people that are trying to make it into that sphere. As long as the legal structure is very grayish or non-existent, the more you allow for scammers or for people that are to thrive, because this is their area of expertise. When things are clear and things are regulated in a proper way, then the right startups and the right investors in that sphere will merge to
by storm, like, you know, coming like storm, you know.
Right. And there are examples. I mean, it's not reinventing the wheel, right? I mean, as I mentioned, Dubai has
been a great example for this.
Switzerland has been able to establish a very, very good hub for crypto in Europe. There are many examples out there. Singapore is one as well. So there's a lot of things that we can benchmark against and try to get the best experience customized to the Vietnamese environment.
Right.
Nice. Okay. I just wanted to throw in a question that just vaguely came up in my head when you guys were talking there. So I know that there's you know, one of the projects you're involved in recently had like an IDO, right?
Right.
Or taking place in that. I know there's differences, obviously. I don't know what they are. Like, I don't know how long that style of fundraising has been taking place. Like the differences between that and traditional methods of raising money through like IPOs or whatever. I don't know if there's major differences. I don't know, how long that's been going on and how that applies, how each of you, any of you, like deal with that sort of issue, because that's something I'm interested in. It seems to be a fairly new thing for me. That I don't know how widespread that is or how long it's been around either.
Okay, I can give you a very
overview
simple way of how I understand this, right?
Yeah.
So when I was working in the startup industry, raising funds has been so hard, so hard. Like, how do you prove a product that hasn't been there yet to the investors? How do you prove your idea that is going to make them millions, right? So with crypto or maybe blockchain coming into the picture, it becomes so much easier for the projects to crowdfund, right? So they can get the support from the community, from the people that they don't even know, because just because these people trust in their ideas, trust in if your idea can become something real, then it's going to help, or maybe add in so much value to the society, or maybe just because it's a game that I really love to play, that is so good, the storyline is good, the graphic is good, I like to invest. Maybe just a little bit, but it works, it helps. So for the project that is going to need only 500,000, only 100,000 to help them, go about their way, they can earn this through blockchain technology, where you can have the ICO as Hadi was talking about, and maybe just the token allocation, or this is a little bit terminology that I don't want to throw at you right now, but it means that it's easier to access to the fund from the community.
Yes.
Okay, it's
Community.
It's another way, a completely different way of raising funds.
Okay.
You're actually allowed to tap into the public funds without going through an IPO.
Right.
IPOs are immensely expensive to go through, and the other thing is when you are an ICO, initial coin offering, or initial digital offering, or initial whatever. I mean, they keep changing all the time, right? But at the essence of it, you're giving away, you're raising funds against the promise that the coin that you are purchasing as an investor will go up in value. You're not even giving away equity. Unlike IPOs, you're not giving away a percentage of ownership of your company. You're just you're selling. Okay, you're saying to someone, "Give me $100,000. I'm going to give you 100,000 coin." And hopefully when we go public, this $100,000 coin, you can sell it for $300,000 or $400,000. So the person who's buying this coin from you is not getting a percentage of ownership in your company. They're just getting this in the promise or in the hope that the value of this coin will increase dramatically in a very short period of time. This has worked. I mean, in 2017, it has worked a lot. But like everything else in economics, there are macroeconomic trends that determine those kind of things on how easy to raise funds or how difficult it is to raise funds. When the availability of cash is high at a cheap rate, so when the interest rates are cheap and government is printing money left and right, like it was doing in the States for the last 2 to 3 years, having access to capital is very easy because there's abundance of cash and people are looking for ways to invest this. When things turn around, and they already started turning around with the interest rates going up and the tightening of the money supply, then accessing funds becomes a much, much harder exercise. And this is where the quality of the projects and the quality of the startups will play a really, really key role in attracting the fewer amount of money that's available in the market.
Right, okay. So you were just saying earlier about like there's names for things keep changing and new things keep popping up, and I would want to know actually more about like why you guys are doing what you're doing, what you're excited about. there must be a bunch of new trends that come up all the time in this space. So if you were able to, tell us like, what do you think is the most exciting part? What new kind of technology or what new trend is coming up that you're most excited about, or maybe has the most potential moving forward into the rest of the decade?
Oh, wow. Because from my marketing side, so I have a chance to inspect a lot of the projects that come to the Lion and ask for the marketing service and marketing incubation. So I would say in my career, we will have the model like a fundamental, a lot of the columns, and we have a big umbrella. So the big umbrella will cover everything that it can be deployed. So right now, I would say if we talk about new trend, I would say in maybe in a year, there's still have a lot of the deployed from the move to earn trend. Because you can see that right now, that is also a very positive way to the market will think about the blockchain technology, how it's very helpful for us. Because it's not only a platform that can help the project earn the money, raise the fund or something, but also with the trend move to earn, we can apply the blockchain technology together with the healthcare and the life balance. Because if we talk move to earn is a big umbrella, right now there's a very positive project and very successful project. They deploy like run to earn, sing to earn, talk to earn, something a lot.
Listen to earn, study to earn.
So
okay.
It's meaning that the projects right now, they think back about the life. They think back how the service to serve people, to serve the community. So I really look forward that in the very near future, a lot of the creative idea from the startup will try to deploy the move to earn, and the community, the people, the users can have earn a lot, not only about the money.
Right. Well, personally, I only invested in AAA games and metaverse projects because metaverse to me is not just a trend; it's something that's going to stick. Look at Facebook, right? No, they changed the name to Meta for a reason, right? So even in the video that Mark Zuckerberg posted on YouTube, he was talking the whole 45 minutes about metaverse, and it's gonna come true. And it's not just because of him that I believe in this, but I see the future of metaverse coming around, especially with the new normal we are experiencing right now with COVID coming into the play, coming to the picture. We're gonna stay home a lot. A lot of people prefer to stay home and work right now, and a lot of times they can just go out just to have coffee and maybe dine at restaurants with their friends. But mostly it's working remotely has become a new thing, a new normal. So the metaverse coming into play is just like switching you guys from 2D to 3D, right? So it feels more real. It feels more connected rather than just looking at the screen and typing. You're looking up. Like this is the funny thing about Meta and Facebook is that Facebook was the one to make people looking at the screen. And now they wanted to take us back to looking at each other, right? It's such an amazing thing to look at, and I would love to share with you guys this feeling of mine when I think of the metaverse. That's
in the future, you will move to earn, you will run to earn right at the office with the metaverse, right?
Yeah, and I like that.
I agree with these trends. I think they are some exciting trends to watch for. Metaverse definitely is here to stay. The anything to earn kind of implication to in the blockchain is also very interesting. Gamification is a big part of it right now. Is instead of spending money on to play games like we used to do when we were a kid, now you get paid to play games. I think Web3 is also a big development in the blockchain space. We moved from Web 1, which was the beginning, just information, no interaction, just like reading a newspaper, but it is online. We moved to Web 2 with applications like Facebook, where
social interaction.
Exactly, social interaction, where two people can log in on Facebook and view completely different things based on their data. So the collection of data by third parties and the storing of this data in in centralized servers that are owned by corporations. And then moving to Web3 right now, where the storing of data is going to be decentralized and not controlled by a corporation, which gives you basically back your data, and you can control your data and you can monetize your data. So that's a big trend coming in. Everybody is watching for it. But I'm super excited about the basic premises of blockchain, right? And the ability of the basic application of blockchain in every industry that is immense and still not being truly fulfilled.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yes, right. I mean, the basic
We're in
stuff,
for like
right?
so many years, and we still haven't really fulfilled the potential of blockchain yet.
Yes, yes.
It's
I
so
mean,
much to dig in.
They're so useful application of the technology. Traceability is one of them. You know, making sure that, for example, you can trace things like food or medicine to make sure that these are actually coming from where the seller is saying they're coming from. You can track their movement to make sure that
transparency, traceable.
Exactly. Transparency. I mean, all these premises that blockchain was built on are, for me, super exciting still till now. You know, even more than what's coming in the future is the basic premises of what blockchain technology can deliver.
Possibly a stupid question. So you were just talking about tracking there, like that sort of like technology for being able to track where things are going has been around for a long time.
Absolutely, but it is centralized. So it's centralized in one server, and that makes it vulnerable to people tweaking it. Like financial records with banks, they are prone to being tampered with. Blockchain, the big difference is that your every transaction or every movement is tracked by a decentralized system of computers using mathematics, basically. So you're not relying on one source to tell you that this is authentic. You're relying on 1,000 sources to tell you this is authentic, and all of these, if you have to change this or to tamper with it, you have to tamper with 1,000 transactions instead of one, which makes it almost virtually impossible to do.
Got it. Okay, good. Okay, I think hopefully this is something that you guys have a big opinion about. So I assume when some sort of segment or area becomes quite popular, everyone jumps onto it. There's lots of stuff happening, lots of projects going on. There's going to be more like maybe quantity based. I don't know. So like what needs to be done perhaps in this country in particular to ensure that quality would come first, or is it actually okay to let everyone jump into everything, have lots of things happening, and you just have to see who survives?
So, well, you guys looking at me really well. Okay, well, what about Jenny? Well, you say something, all right? Okay, so to me, really, when the new segments becomes popular, a lot of people will not understand it quite from the first chance that they, from the first glance that they look at. So, for example, move to earn has become so big, but from my point of view, when I was moving from play to earn to play and earn, and then I was looking around away for like 5 seconds, and I turn around and okay, move to earn, sing to earn, study to earn. There's so many things to earn.
Maybe after I sleep.
Right. But my friends, within my network of connections, they're very active to like be telling me like, William, you gotta look at this. William, you gotta look at that. Maybe this will work for you. Maybe this will not. Well, from my point of view as an investor, I usually look at it as, how is it going to help my ecosystem? How is it going to build something within my ecosystem so that all of the projects that I incubate and also maybe help, invested in, will grow together? It has to be that way, or else if it's just, something that's on the side and it's making a lot of money, it really doesn't going to help me in the long run. So when I do that, I will look at quality, right? So quantity becomes something that a lot of the project that hit and run looks at. I mean, they look at that point of view where they wanted to cash out the money that the investors bring in, and they just want to cash out, so that they will look at the quantity of you maybe have a lot of supporters, you may be having a lot of news about you or things going on with you around you. But when we look at the long-term vision, how does that one segment is going to help anything for the long-term ecosystem that we're building? This is what my point of view on the new segment things coming in and out regularly.
Very important.
I agree with this. I think as a new technology, it tends to attract a lot of people that are trying to ride the wave. Especially in 2017 with the crazy ICO environment, you would have. I mean, we've seen things in 2018 that a project with 20-year-old, the entire team is 20, 21, with a white paper, no product, no nothing, say asking for $100 million. So you get all of these when there is an environment where there's easy money, people will try to take advantage of it. And I mean, capitalist systems are built to weave these out gradually. When going to the public to raise fund dried out in 2018 after the crypto. I mean, this is not the first crypto winter we go through. We've been through this a million times. I remember back in 2018, we did our first event in September in the crypto space. Bitcoin was around $16,000, if I remember correctly. And then we did another one in December, and crypto was at $3,000. So it went down quite drastically in a very short time. These kind of events in the crypto space dries up the liquidity in the pool and weeds out the people that want to raise $100 million based on absolutely nothing. Because then you cannot go to the public anymore. You have to go to the professional investors, and they will know what they're dealing with. So like any new thing, right? I mean, quantity is inevitable. Quantity is inevitable, and the system itself usually weeds out the ones that are not quality driven, and will keep the ones that are.
But building a system for this is not just one person's job. It's not a one man's job, right? Because how do you ensure that quality comes first when the mindset of the people and the public education is not there yet? And how are we going to implement that? Oh, you got to put quality comes first before you wanted to take other people's money. Is this?
And how does that work when, for example, if you have a project that might be some sort of video game or something, right, or like something that you can play, but there's no demo yet. You can't actually play it. You can see some pictures, you can see some of the illustrations that are being used for it, but it doesn't actually exist yet. And like, I know you can have people that are very interested and believe in the idea or whatever, but like, how are you supposed to ensure kind of quality if that project is a game, but it doesn't actually exist yet? How do you know if it's going to be any good?
Okay, so two things about this, right? So first thing first, you gotta have a good storyline. You gotta need to have the audience. I told you from the first start. You need to get the people who love your idea first, right?
Marketing job.
Even if you don't have any demo, even if you don't have anything yet, look at the examples of the traditional gaming industry. They are building their game even like with comic books, with like just textbook, story, paragraphs, or maybe once a week they will issue an episode of animation on the characters, teaser, trailers, and stuff like that, to engage the public, like to engage your audience. And from that, you filter down your audience to the true and main supporters along the way. And once you build up that to a certain amount of number, like you got 1 million fans who are loving your idea, loving it, like just, I feel I feel the story. I feel like I'm the character in your story, and I want to stick with you no matter what. If you have that loyalty, you got 1 point down. Like you got 50% of the success rate for the raising fund already. If you got that down.
Yes.
And then the rest would be all of the other things you gotta do, like branding, marketing,
and the team,
you know,
right?
the team
I mean,
and
if you
building the
don't-
team.
If you don't
strong.
have something that is built already, you have to have confidence as an investor that the team can actually build.
Do something,
What
right?
yeah, exactly what they're saying that they're gonna build.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So it's going back to that, you know, going back to, you know, earning loyalty from your audience, and then also make sure that your team can deliver what you said. If you're just gonna hit and run, I'm not going to because I don't want to share too much so that all the projects that are hitting run, they're going to take my advice and take a lot of money from the
Yes.
public. I don't want that. So this is where I'm just drawing a line here, guys. I'm drawing a line here right now to say that please, guys, think of, you know, your morals, your integrity, because
Yes.
doing this causes a lot of things. You know, you might ruin a lot of hopes for a lot of people that trust in you, trust in your projects, for, you know, they wanted to help you grow, and you, again, you know, not doing anything that you said or not delivering what you promised you would. This is something that, from my point of view as an investor, I strongly, you know, believe that you need to deliver as said. You
Yeah.
say something and you do
Yes.
it.
I believe that what Will and Hadi says now is not only about help the project win and succeed in raising fund, because all of the things now is very important to help the project survive after the IDO, especially with our alliance. When we signed an MOU with the project to do the marketing incubation, we always try to separate into two phases. The first phase is before the IDO, and the second phase is after the IDO, to see how the strategy of the project, how the very original idea, mission, and the vision was kept after the IDO. So all I mean here, the connection of from the project to the community, the connection from the project to the species, your strategic partners is very important. I want to focus about the communication and the commitment, the very important two C's that the project should keep, because it's not about how we close together, it's also about the transparent. Of course, after you do that part very well, you always receive the trust, the belong together, and especially the sympathy from the investors, from the community, because there are some of the problem, right? We cannot know that how many percent that the dev team and how many percent that the project can commit the deadline, commit the product roadmap exactly, because there's a lot of problem will come. So the commitment and the clear communication will update day by day, very close to the community and your investor, to know that, okay, what will be next, what was happening with the projects, so that commitment and the clear communication will help the project not only very successful startup, they will help them move to the sustainable company. Absolutely.
Yep, that's correct. Agreed.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So in terms of, you were talking about transparency there. I mean, with it being, again, a fairly new thing, the last 5, 6, 7 years or whatever, and there have been some you know, there's going to be problems that don't even exist yet. You don't even know what's going to come around the corner. You have some problems with some projects maybe having major issues that were in international news and things like that in this arena. So there must be many investors immediately that are really concerned about jumping into a new, well, and fairly new for them, blockchain area when they don't yet know all the risks that are there. I don't know if that's something that's a bit more unique to this area compared to other sectors and industries.
It is a little bit unique to this area because of the immense publicity that this industry gets. When things are good and Bitcoin is going up the roof. I use Bitcoin a lot because it is really the benchmark for the industry right now.
Yes.
When Bitcoin was at 70, everybody was saying, no, this is I wish I have invested in this when it was 20. When it goes down to 20, everybody says, this is a scam, I'm not going to invest in it. And it's a cycle that goes up and down, goes up
To go up, it's my asset. It's go down, it's a scam.
Exactly. And I don't think that the blockchain community has done a great job in explaining what is Bitcoin and what are some of the major cryptos out there, and people also tend to mix up blockchain with Bitcoin or crypto, and crypto is just the financial aspect of it, while blockchain is the actual technology that we talked about that can actually deliver tremendous amount of good in the world. And I also believe that the crypto part of it is also a very valid investment asset class that can be used very wisely by savvy investors, and it can lead to disaster when people use it like gambling. You know, when they don't understand the project, they don't understand anything. They just see a crypto coin trends up, and then they go get a loan or mortgage their house. And then put
exactly. Can I add to this? Like, you just said something that is really a pain in my head a long time ago. Like, how do you? If I'm an investor, right, but I'm also a lead for an incubator of some projects, so I have to protect the project as well.
Right.
So, standing from the project point of view, how do you grow when all your investors just keep coming back at you? Like, when the market goes up and the coin, the value goes up, you're great, you're doing good, I love you, you're doing perfect job. And when the market is bad and the coin or maybe the token comes down in value, it certainly becomes your scam.
Yeah.
You are a scam, a total failure, I hate you, give me back my money. All the time. And this is my message to you out there, investors. Don't do this.
Right.
You're killing the project, man. If you trust in them, my point of view, an investor and a project is like a marriage.
Right.
When the times are tough, you stick together. You don't go back to them and say, "You're not the person I knew from this point." you don't say that, right?
From a personal perspective, we're not institutional investors, but I have invested myself in many projects. When I first decided, even we are at the heart of this whole ecosystem, right? When I first decided to invest in crypto, I went to a crypto fund. I said, "Here's my money, invest it for me." Because I'm not an investment expert. I just wanted to
go along.
No.
So I wanted to trust it to professionals. You go to a fund manager and you say, "Here's my money, please invest it for me." And crypto funds, unlike what many people think, they say, "Okay, this is an investment for 5 years. So don't come asking me every time that the coin goes up or goes down, where's my money?" You're like any other funds. You're locking this into a certain period of time.
That makes sense.
Because the funds look at the project as any other investment. They look at the fundamentals and they invest for the long run. They're not in it for trading. If you want to trade crypto, it's like trading stocks. It's as risky as that. It's exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. So as an investor, as I mentioned, when I first small investor, I'm not an institutional investor. As a personal investment, I went to a crypto fund to invest my hard-earned money because I don't want to gamble with them. And the few projects that I've personally invested in, because we come across some amazing people and I really want to support them. Once I decide to invest a little bit in the project, I say, okay, this is the money. I'm not going to ask them, what's going to happen for the next 3 to 5 years. Exactly as if I'm putting this into a fund. So I think the more educated the investor, and we come back to the same education, theme, the more educated the investor, the average investor is about crypto, the more stable the investment is, and I think the more a long-term view would be taken by them, as opposed to, I want to make $1 million in 2 days.
That's not going to happen, and you know that. Easy comes, easy goes, right? Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was we were talked about earlier about original visions and things like that. So to kind of ask it simply, do you think it's more important for developers to retain their original vision and like the core values, or to be flexible and change because I assume the situation is going to change all the time?
Oh, flexible. Wow, cannot stupid, sorry. Because no, I also have time, a lot of experience when I work with the dev team, between the marketing team that always in the front and talk to the VCs, talk to the communities, and we have to try to have a very friendly communication message to the audience that, okay, the project and the dev team say blah, 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 and we have to be sorry or something, please sympathy or something. To be honest, if I have a chance to talk directly to the dev team out there, so please try to understand the feeling of the market. I mean, try to understand the insights of the market, because your product will be welcome, your products will be deployed, be used by the market. So please try to understand what they actually need. Don't try to put your standard model in the market. Besides, don't be try to flexible your mission and your vision, because that is your goal. That is the very first love that the people comes to you. So try to keep that, but try to understand them and really focus.
Usually, it always comes down to your core values, right?
Yes.
You keep your core values, but
Yes.
you can change your strategy. Like, strategy is a choice, and it has to be flexible based on the current
Yes.
situation of the market, the current situation of your whole team, and also the current situation of your relationships with your investors, partners, and also the people around who are involved with your
Yes.
project.
You know, we talk to a lot of projects in order to invite them to come to the event and meet with investors. A lot of times I hear projects say, we're too early to talk to investors. It's still too early for us. We haven't yet developed our idea or our strategy fully. And that's something I disagree with. I think that as a startup, the earlier you can talk to an investor, the better it is. Why? Because the investor is not only there to put their money.
Sure.
They're there to provide expertise and guidance. If you have an idea about implementing blockchain on social media or on marketing agencies, the investor that you are going to propose the idea about this have probably heard that same pitch 5 times already from different potential. You always think that you have something extremely unique, and there's a degree of pride in that. I'm the first one to do that, and then when you talk to seasoned investor, you discover, maybe somebody else has already thought about this.
Yes.
So I think talking to investor as early as possible will help you steer your ship and really understand through a 15-minute conversation what it could have taken you 6 months of research to do it without talking to that investors.
Right.
Because of the amount of pitches that they are exposed to, because of the amount of resources that they have under them usually to do researches and to a 15-minute conversation can really be very beneficial by saying, okay, listen, this is not going to work. And you might stick to it and say, you know what, I think it's going to work. Or, I've heard that pitch 5 times. We invested in a company that does something similar. This is great, but can you maybe look at pivoting into that particular area?
Right.
And this kind of advice, this kind of guidance at a very early stage can save you tons of money and tons of time. So yes, stick to the core value, but please be flexible to pivot to what the market needs and not to what you want to fulfill.
Hadi, well, I have to, okay, sorry, but, I have to tell you a little bit about, I understand from the project's point of view where they are very afraid that their ideas might be stolen, right?
That's very good.
That's true.
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
So from my point of view, to protect that, you need to have another institution, maybe a third party, to inspect the quality of the investor who are coming to you for your ideas from the very early stage. Which is why, I was talking to you about how I love your global blockchain congress. It's because of this reason.
Right.
How do you get quality people?
Yes.
First and foremost, quality people doing projects, right? They can fail the first 2 projects, but maybe in the long run, they learn.
Right.
They improve, they develop, and then one day they can actually have a unicorn. Startup, you never know that. But the investors, they're not just looking for projects. They're looking for the quality people who are doing the work.
Right.
Yes.
So when they come to something like, I'm not even like considering your global blockchain congress as an event. I think it's an ideal. It's a platform where people can meet, but you already
Showcase stage.
Yeah, already evaluate
Right.
the quality of the people who are coming in to present the projects and the quality of the people who are coming in to invest.
Right.
This is so vital to any type of trust and credibility in this crypto space and also the blockchain industry.
I completely agree with you. The amount it takes our team to identify, pre-qualify, and then confirm investors in this event is just tremendous. We have, on average, around 100 to 120 investors that attend our each edition of the Global Blockchain Congress. We also make it very exclusive from the project side because we only allow 20 to 25 projects also to attend. So it's a very concentrated and selected group of people that are there to meet with each other. The screening process for investors is quite extensive.
It has to be, right?
We get them to sign a contract with us, to provide certain information that is critical for the project to understand, what kind of investors they are dealing with, what type of ticket size that the investors are looking at, what type of investment they have previously done. So all of this adds to the credibility of the investor. And this process has been, tweaked so many times because of trial and
stuff
error.
like that.
When we first started, everybody who says, I'm an investor, we tend to take him for his word. He's an investor. And then
I have money.
we figured,
money.
this is not always true.
Right?
So we started to implement processes and procedures to make sure that we're weeding these out as well, and ending up with investors that are true investors and are decision makers. So you're not meeting with any somebody who's going to refer to his boss when they come. You're talking to the decision maker, and most importantly, I think, because there's a lot of investors who invested a lot of money and are not investing now. So we also don't want these guys.
Exactly.
We want people that are looking to invest right now.
Right.
So these are the three criteria that we really focus on when we are inviting
Well,
investors.
if I knew you earlier, I wouldn't have to meet about 100 VCs in a week to raise fund for Fora. Actually, the project I invested in, I told you about, that I have to meet in each and every one of them to inspect and evaluate each and every one by my own way.
Right.
Who are you? What have you invested in? How, why,
Exactly.
and what is your
homework?
Yeah.
And they asked me about what is your project. Like I don't even know our project before coming into a meeting. Where I'm like, if you don't know who I am, then why do you, want to invest?
Right, exactly.
Why do we have this meeting even?
Exactly. When
it's so wasting your time, right?
First time.
Not the first time.
when I first cited the HBR study, the Harvard Business Review study on how hard it is for startups to meet with VCs, and also how VCs choose what to invest in, and the conclusion was that without the proper social circle and professional circle, it is extremely hard to raise fund for an entrepreneur through a VC. What we try to do is to create that social network and professional network by pre-qualifying the investors, making sure that they are ready to invest and making sure that they are actively looking for investment opportunities, by bringing those also pre-qualified projects. So we create an environment where people are conducive to doing business. They're there to do business. So we do all this work and then we put them together. And our work doesn't end there, but I don't want to ever position ourselves
ending.
but we are very careful to not position ourselves as either advisors or brokers, because we're neither. I mean, we're not an investment bank, we're not a VC ourselves, we're not financial advisors.
I love your vision, man.
Yeah.
This is really...
What we try to do is to put companies that want to raise funds with investors who want to invest.
Perfectly.
Making sure that they're both of good quality, and we leave them to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's up to you to pitch at the end.
Yeah, if you work, that's great. If you don't, it's fine.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
We don't force things, right?
Right.
Okay.
I hope that answers your questions.
the question that happened 20 minutes ago, yeah.
Sorry.
I love it. I love it. That's what you want. You want people to know what they're talking about and explain for people like me as well that have no clue.
Sure.
So we touched on it very slightly earlier too. Do you think these days developers or investors are more likely to set aside like self-interest and work together? How important is it to actually build relationships in different areas? Or do you still have a lot of people that are like, this is my thing, I'm going it alone, it's me.
Well, yeah, well, I always say, and even from the start of this talk show, relationships are so important, right? So the relationship between the project and the investor, to me, is like a marriage. You got to stick together. And the more you stick together and set aside self-interest, the more mutual benefits that you're going to earn within, this relationship, because you're going to grow stronger. You're going to find what you lack within each other, and then your partner is going to help you fulfill the lacks in you or in your products and in your projects, that is going to help you eliminate the risks that you're going to fail, right? So in doing so, already creates a better chance for you to succeed. And for that, you need to, be together for quite, a lot of ups and downs to be able to build something that strong. Because it's so easy when the market crashes, like we discussed earlier. It's so easy for investors to drop a project because the market is bad. I want my money back, right? When the relationship goes wrong, no, you're at fault, I want to break up, right? So, but it's a marriage. It's not easy to do so. It's a commitment, right? It's a contract that we sign. You gotta honor your commitment. If you don't want to honor it, then don't work or don't marry or don't do this in the first place. And if you ever put down your signature to sign something, you gotta commit to it, you gotta honor it. This is really my point of view, man.
Yes. Sure.
And I think it's hard when some of the startups founders are very they have a big ego. I mean, it's not always a bad thing, because it means that they are committed to what they have built, that they are proud of what they have built, that they have a very, very clear vision, and that supersedes everything. This is my vision. I'm gonna achieve it. Come, rain or high water. So sometimes this kind of personality is, these are the Steve Jobs of the world, and the people that have vision, and they really believe in that vision, and they want to change the world. I think the key ingredient here is to get them some kind of support group that keeps them a little bit anchored, to the
to down to earth.
Yes. You are really great. You're not God, but you're great. So
you're not God, but you're great.
Yes. Sometimes investors and VCs in particular do place key people from their own side into board of directors in places where egocentric CEOs can be a little bit of an overwhelming presence in a startup, because they want the vision, they want the commitment, they want the brilliance of that individual, but they still want to make it or anchored to certain KPIs that is very important for the VC as well. But corporate. This is few of the cases, not the majority.
To add into that, well, actually, Hadi, like for example, I'm just gonna say that if the CEO is egocentric, it's usually more because they are expert on something that they're really proud of. For example, like if you're a CEO, but previously you've done a lot of tech job, so you're probably a tech guy, but now you're the CEO. So you would tend to pay attention more to the tech side,
Right.
but not the marketing side, not the branding side. But then your investors look at it and like, your project needs marketing, your
Yes.
project needs branding, or
Right.
else your community will leave you.
Right,
But
right.
that CEO would be like, no, we got the best tech team ever. Our product is the bomb, and
Right.
it's gonna win. But then of course, you're gonna. That's why you have to angle now down to like, yo,
Yeah,
you're great.
absolutely.
But
Yes,
you're not
yes.
everything, right? You're just one really good ingredient, right? But it takes all the ingredients all together, and you have to cook it before you present it to the world. So yeah, one doesn't, suffice all. I mean, satisfies all.
I would say that not all of the people should learn and should work the other job to understand their inside. But all the people should, to build the strong relationships, should be try to give time, sit down together, clear communication to understand. Because like said, the dev team and the investor, totally different mindset, totally different angle to say about the project or the market. So don't try to be, the dev team don't try to be the investor and else, but actually try to understand and try to think that, okay, when the products go in air on the market, the investor will be the very key factor that help your project, help your products growing up. And the others like, okay, in a lot of the products in the market, you choose this one, you choose this dev team. It means that they also have their very old advantage, so try to move it up.
Nice.
Don't try to change them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think there was something there that made me think as well. Maybe you can answer this, I'm not sure. So there's just a random guy in Vietnam, okay? He thinks he has an amazing idea, but he doesn't have a team. So what are the avenues? What can this person do in this country to be like, okay, here's my idea, but I don't know the first thing about getting a team or what to do next? Is there certain avenues, certain ways to go about this? Maybe there are obvious examples in other countries too of the best way to do that.
The core team is very important.
Yeah, the core team is very important. I mean, before you go and ask people to invest in you, you need to do some homework. There's some ABCs that need to be checked. Before that, there's absolutely, in my opinion, there's no need, or there's no case for you to go and speak to investors. One of them is the core team. Now, I think if you really have a really great idea and you don't know the first thing about how to assemble a team or to how to go about starting this, there are mentors out there. I mean, there's a lot of people. There are incubators. There are accelerators, or I mean, let's start with incubators because this is just an idea that can guide you through the process. They can guide you through building the team, referring some people to you that are needed for your team. There are friends, there are colleagues, there are professors at university. There are so many resources that people can rely on, at least to do their homework before they start approaching institutional investors.
Yep.
And team is probably one of the most important things to
Right.
have.
But from the idea, I also say that don't try to stick the idea so tight, because when you find a mentor, they will grow your idea up. So with your idea might be your own idea, and it's very first step. But how deploy it and how move the idea as a team, as a business, as a sustainable company is totally different. So just have an initial idea and try the right mentor.
Any final words?
Of course, I always have something
I
to
know.
say. Well, to answer your question, you gotta have to sell your idea to the closest people you have first, right? Whoever that is out there that is going to believe in your idea is going to become your member, your partner, your comrades. Because you said that, how do you find a partner or maybe your teammates if you just have an idea? See, that's your first task. Go sell something. Go sell your idea to your friend, to your mates, to your family, right?
There's a word for that, right? Friends, family, and fools. These are the first people. These are the first people that you approach for funding, because friends, I mean, if your friends and your family doesn't want to invest in you, I mean, good luck to get money from anywhere else. And fools,
Exactly right.
yes, and fools are you know, the crazies out there that really believe in the ideas and in the concepts of it. And there is an actual saying, FFF, which is friends, family, and fools. So these are the first people that you approach to get funding from, or to at least, you know, bounce your ideas off of them and see what sticks.
Yeah, that's
Excellent.
exactly it.
Okay. Well, I think that is actually all we've got time for. It's been really interesting. I've learned so much. So
Thank
I
you,
hope-
you too,
I hope
Ray,
everyone else has too.
for asking all these questions, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's all we've got time for. I hope you've all learned a few things as well, because I know I have. You can stay tuned for more content here on VIR. But that's all for now. So goodbye for now. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. You say in Vietnamese.
Oh,
Oh yeah, say
Can
something
you
in
say something in
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese?
come on,
Cảm ơn.
come on.
Cảm ơn Việt Nam. All right.
Thank you, honey. Thank
Come
you,
on,
Ray.
Vietnam.
Awesome.
Thank you,
That's
Ray.
great, man. Perfect.
Thank you, VIR.
Thank you.